Hi friends, I'm going to talk in this video about how it can actually be extraordinarily valuable to stay with really challenging emotions. Emotions that might feel dark or scary or uncomfortable, instead of trying to fix them, try to change them, try to make them go away, which is such a deep tendency that we all have. It's such a natural thing to feel this is an unpleasant emotion. I want it to change. I want it to go away. I want to replace it with a better feeling emotion. And this video is not about the election. And even the feelings I'll be describing in here are not related to that. This is just kind of a little intro. And in a moment, I'm going to switch to a video that I recorded many months ago. That I never ended up posting. But it feels appropriate just knowing that a lot of people right now are struggling with really challenging emotions. And so I think this might be helpful for you if you are one of two types of people, at least, and probably more as well. One type being someone who feels a lot of challenging emotions in general and wonders, is there any utility to this? Is this just kind of uncomfortable, or might there be any value? Might there be any growth happening if I let myself continue to feel these emotions? But perhaps more commonly is people who are like I've been for a lot of my life, analytical thinker types who are very oriented around problem solving. And who, when you feel something uncomfortable like loneliness or grief, or anger, you might feel like I need to get through this to kind of solve it. I need to analyze it. I need to figure out what led to this so that I can change it. And so in this video, I want to kind of push against that belief that again, I've had for so much of my life, and instead argue that there's great value in just resting in the darkness, allowing yourself to be in the negative emotions. And of course, the caveat here is checking if you are within what's called the window of tolerance. Like if you're within your personal boundaries for what you can handle, if you're feeling super agitated, super activated, then that's might not be a time to just rest in it. That might be a time to get support, get help, move, do something else, practice, some breathing techniques, ground yourself, right? So what I'm talking about here is the value of being with challenging emotions within a window that feels challenging, hard, but still doable, right? I'm not saying if you're having a super big trauma response to just be with it and celebrate that as useful, right? If you're having something that is where you're actually in danger, or you actually have a very high fight or flight response, then there are different techniques for handling that. But in this video, I'm going to be switching to in a moment. It's going to be a little slower paced than some of my other videos, but hopefully you'll stick with it, because my intent with this video was really demonstrating it in real time, demonstrating the skill in real time, because I recorded this when I was feeling some really challenging emotions myself. So you might see that on my face and see how I, in real time, am sticking with those challenging emotions. All right. Thanks for watching. I want to talk about the value of staying with really difficult emotions. And I'm just getting out of some of those right now. Definitely still in it. And this is a very vulnerable video for me to post because of that. I really feel like I'm just kind of stepping out of this storm, this really dark place, and I really don't know actually in this moment if I'll end up posting this or not. But I think back to my personal mission statement around exploring all the various paths to growth, including the hard ones, so I can show other people what's possible, guide them. And so, that means the really hard ones too. And it's just so easy to not stay with negative feelings. It's so much the default in our culture today. I think it's so ingrained in us that we so often move away from them without consciously choosing to do so. And I was noticing that myself. Briefly what happened was I just had an experience a little while ago that really reminded me of mortality. It really reminded me that I'm definitely going to die. And it's just such a big feeling. And I made a video recently about how Buddhism talks about just the immense value of being with reality as it is, without resisting it, without trying to change it. And if you try to change it, that's the root of suffering. And so I was really noticing when I just felt myself in this really dark place of contemplating death that it just would have been so easy to try to move out of that. And I think the two most likely ways are either distraction, just deciding to do something else, to get on my computer, to watch a funny video to cheer up. Or the other way would be to go to my partner, ask for help, ask to be hugged. And, that's often the right answer. When life is hard, we humans really need support. And often going to someone else for help is the winning path, I think. But in this case, I really do consider it part of my Buddhist practice to practice when these kinds of opportunities arise. And so it felt important for me to just be with this feeling of mortality. Like, wow, here I am right now, being with one of the most challenging possible feelings that humans experience, right? Really thinking about dying. And I don't often feel it quite so potently. The real truth of it doesn't often sink into my body as fully as it did tonight. So it felt like a rich opportunity for me to explore that space. And it really wasn't easy. I was very close to going to my partner. But I chose to go for a walk instead, just out in the dark, and just kind of really repeat this mantra almost to myself of like, yeah, here I am in this space. Here I am. I'm being lonely right now. I am alone. I am mortal. Just noticing as my mind tried to change that into something, as it tried to look on the bright side, as it tried to make that go away. How can I fix this? Right? That's such the natural inclination. How can I solve this problem? And I really just had to remind myself this isn't a problem that can be solved. And really, I think that's one of the deepest and hardest parts of Buddhist practice and mindfulness practice, of just recognizing this is an emotion, this is a feeling that doesn't need to be solved, doesn't need to be analyzed, it doesn't need to be changed. It's just, this is the feeling that I'm experiencing right now. I'm experiencing fear. I'm experiencing aloneness. And that's it. That's what I'm in. That's me right now. And that's okay. And, you know, we have these options, right, to try to make it go away. And sometimes that's what's needed. If you have to go to work, if you have to care for your kids and you're feeling this existential crisis, you know, maybe you need to bottle it up a little to take care of business. But in my case, you know, tonight, didn't have anything else to do, didn't have any responsibilities, so why not explore the darkness? And I think the value of it really is, if I had just decided, I don't like this feeling, I'm going to go ask for a cuddle from my partner. I don't like this feeling, I'm going to watch some comedy clip on YouTube. You know, not only is there the danger of just repressing the feeling, pushing it down so that it's going to pop up again later, but I would have missed out on where I ended up, which is this place of just expansiveness. I have no idea how this looks. You know, I have no idea how you're perceiving me right now, but I imagine that I feel different from my other videos. Maybe it feels like I'm trying less hard, or just showing you some deeper part of me, more vulnerability. I'm not sure exactly, but it sure feels different to me. It feels It just feels like I'm tapped into something bigger. And I think that's, you know, the real value of sticking with it, going on this 20-minute walk outside and just really paying attention to, this is what it's like to be lonely, this is what it's like to feel this intensity of fear. And by staying with it, I was able to just kind of go on this journey of just watching it subtly shift on its own, not trying to change it, not trying to turn it into optimism or anything like that, but just noticing little opportunities to explore different aspects of it. Like, I turned a corner at one point and I saw in the distance a hospital, and it's just, I don't know, it just crossed my mind like, wow, here I am having this existential crisis about my death, and my death might very well be many, many decades away. And here are those people up in those windows in that hospital, and damn, like, for some of them, death might be tonight. That's real. Wow. Some of them might be alone up there. So I'm not saying look on the bright side. You know, it's not so simple as that. It's more just like, wow, this is the weight of reality of being human. And it's not that it makes my experience better by looking at those people in the hospital, but it's just kind of, just is what it is. You're like, wow, this is hard for me, and it's probably much harder for them. I don't know if it makes this experience easier or better, but it shifts it in some way. It adds weight to it. It adds potency to it. And And I think that was an important ingredient in this kind of stew that I was brewing, because by the time I got home and I sat down for a short meditation, I just felt this richness, this richness of the human experience. It's so much more depthful than just life is good, life is happy. You know, it's yes, of course, life is good, and it's also so hard sometimes, so hard, so dark and scary, difficult in so many ways, and it just lends it this like rich texture that I was just able to sink into this feeling of just being connected to all the other humans out there who are living this life, this existence, this short time that we have to be alive, and we're all trying our best. And so I just found myself thinking about, different people in my life that I have, like, small arguments with, or I felt negative feelings toward them, and just in that moment of just sitting with this richness of experience, I felt all that melt away. Like, how could I judge these people, be angry at these people, be frustrated by these people? Like, every single one of them is trying their best. How could they not be? We're all doing the best that we can. And so I think that's really one of the deepest values of fully being with the darkest feelings. Just welcoming them in, letting them permeate you, and just being in that space for a while. It really just gives perspective, it gives richness, it just shows me I'm not alone. All these challenging feelings I deal with, so many people are dealing with these challenging feelings too. We're all in this together. And I think that is such a crucial, deep felt sense, knowing that we all need to tap into more often in this world today, when we're all so polarized and against each other so often, blaming each other, judging each other. That in this darkness, it's just so clear that we're all connected, we're all trying our best, we're all in this together. So it really just makes me want to treat everyone with compassion, and myself, because it's really hard being human sometimes. So my invitation to you is to just notice when you instinctually go away to fix your negative emotions, to try to change them. And often that is the right move. Sometimes it's more than we can handle. Sometimes we have responsibilities, like I said, and so just check if maybe there are opportunities now and then for you to dive in a little deeper and stick around with those dark feelings and just welcome them in. See what they have to say, see what they want you to see. And the key thing is really just not trying to change them, not trying to fix them, just